everybody, and welcome to our first episode of Less Work, More Network with Fiber Mountain. My name is Shannon, and I will be your host on this journey. A little about myself: I've been working in the telecom world for over 25 years. When I say telecom world, what I'm really talking about is think about your old telephones at your grandma's house, maybe your cell phone, your internet, the laptops, how these things all talk to each other. Well, over my career, I've helped install a lot of the different types of equipment that makes it all work. So on this first episode, we're going to start with one of the basic building blocks of pretty much every network out there right now, the fiber optic cables. So much like these cables you see over here beside me. Okay, so we're going to take a quick trip down memory lane, and we're going to start with the telegraph. So if you read your history books, see old movies, especially old westerns, they always talk about telegraphs and receiving telegrams. So these were basically copper wires sending electric signals in Morse code. And that's how they would talk to each other, and you would get these little messages. Then you move into the telephone, which used the same style of copper wires, two different wires to send these electric pulses, which transmitted your voice into data and then went through some equipment, and at the other end, your phone turned it back into a voice. So the network that all of our devices today run on started out kind of the same way on those old copper wires. The problem was that we have gotten so fast paced that we wanted it more and more data, and we wanted it faster and faster. So copper wires just couldn't support the amount of data that we were trying to transmit. So we had to upgrade, such as it is. So then we get into the fiber optic cables. Okay, I know you've all heard of a fiber optic cable, otherwise why would you have searched and found this video of me sitting up here talking to you about them? So we're going to start with what a fiber cable is. It's a real short, brief explanation. A fiber cable is basically a very fine tube of glass. Think about the size of a human hair, or maybe one of my beard hairs. But instead of using electricity to send pulses like the old copper lines, fibers use light pulses like lasers to send more data at a much higher speed. Like think of the speed of light. So each fiber is made up of a few main parts that really make the fiber work. So you got the core, cladding, coating, and the outer jacket. And there's some other parts in there, but we're just going to look at these few of them for right now. So we're going to start by trying to draw this out. So the core would be the central part of the fiber. So that's the very small human hair that all the light travels through. That does the heavy lifting. So next we're going to have the cladding. So that's also small, going to be around the core, and its main job is to keep that fiber, that light inside the fiber, not let any of that light out. Then you're going to have a coating around that. Okay, we're getting a little bit bigger, and it's really the protective layer. So it's going to add strength, shock resistance, and protection, more protection environment. And there's lots of different things that they can use for this, but we'll talk about those on another episode. And then last, you're going to have the outer jacket. Okay, so that's going to really protect it. That's the yellow that you see over here, or if you can see it down here, we'll talk about it later as an aqua fiber too. So those are the main parts. So my drawing is obviously not very good, so we're going to look at another way to look at this. We're going to look at a pencil. So a pencil is very much like a fiber optic cable. It's got three very distinct parts. You've got the pencil lead or graphite, which, like the cord, does all the heavy lifting. So when you think a thought and you want to put it on paper, well, the pencil transmits that data into the paper. Next, you've got the wood around that, which protects. So that's going to be your cladding and your coating. So that's protecting that lead, protecting that core, protecting that data from getting out, getting all over your fingers. It's really just keeping it going. And you've got that outer jacket, which in this case would be this yellow part here, which really protects the wood from getting damaged. Okay, so pencil's still kind of hard to see sometimes, so we're going to look at a straw. And so the straw is going to be basically our core. And then we're going to put that into a pool noodle. So there we go. So a straw inside a pool noodle really represents a fiber very well. So you've got the core inside here, so water's going to flow through that. And all of this on the outside is going to protect it. And you would think, the yellow jacket on the outside, this really matches up with a fiber optic cable. So that's just another easy way to look at what a fiber optic cable does and is. Okay, so we've discussed the different parts of the fiber. So now we're going to talk about the two different types of fibers. So we've got a single mode fiber and a multi-mode fiber. You can see the single mode fiber is yellow and the multi-mode fiber is blue or aqua. So, and the fibers we're actually looking at right here are duplex fibers. So a duplex fiber just means that there's two fibers ran together. If there was just one of them, that would be a simplex fiber, and they're used for different things. Okay, so we've got our fibers here, our single mode and our multi-mode. So a single mode fiber has a smaller core than a multi-mode fiber. It has a larger core, the multi-mode does. So the single mode allows only one signal to run at a time, where a multi-mode will allow multiple, kind of like the name suggests. The single mode fiber doesn't lose as much light and signal, so it's better for long distances. So think of city to city, across the ocean, those sub-Atlantic cables that you've probably heard about that go and connect the United States to Europe, or the ones that go around Africa and all the way back up to Asia. The multimode fibers are, since they have more of a chance of losing signal, they're used for shorter distances. So think of inside a building or maybe on a campus. This doesn't mean that you can't use a single mode fiber for the shorter distances. It works just as well. And it also depends on what type of device you're connecting. Some call for a multi-mode, some call for a single mode. Each one of them has a different place in the telecom world. Okay, so we've talked a lot of information. We're going to talk real quickly about how fibers work. We've been mentioning this throughout, but what it basically does is each different device that you hook a fiber into is going to send a laser, remember that light signal, through the core. Remember the core? That's going to bounce down through there at intervals, and it's going to be basically your data signal. And it's going to travel through these fibers from one end to the other, and your devices on each end take that information and convert it into whatever you're trying to do, into a video, into a voice, something. That's pretty much it. So why is this all important? Well, I'm sure you had some questions. I hope I answered them. But if you like to watch videos, you're watching this video on something, searching the internet for dogs and cats doing cute things, people falling off skateboards, I don't know. All of that at some point goes through a fiber optic cable. Streaming movies, online games, video calls. Even though you think it's all going through the cloud, at some point, all of that still has to go through fiber optic cable. So they really are the backbone of a lot of our information that we have today. That's where it all travels through. So I want to thank you for sticking around this long. Hope you have a little bit of information, maybe enough to be dangerous with. I'm sure you're going to have some comments and questions. Please drop them below. I promise I will read every one of them. Thanks for staying, and we'll see you next time.